The Oaxaca Old Fashioned was created by New York City bartender Phil Ward in the early days of Death and Company. Probably around 2007. This was right before the current agave craze that we're experiencing now, and it was before mezcal, or maybe just as mezcal was being discovered by drinkers in the US and Europe. It was a really artful way of showing people what you could do with agave spirits, you know, that you could do a lot more than just a margarita. So first thing we're gonna do is grab our glass and do a couple dashes of Angostura bitters. If you're using a Japanese bitters dasher, of course you're gonna do double. And then we are going to get a specific bar spoon that I did not prep with. So this particular bar spoon, we're gonna be doing 1 bar spoon measure of agave. And someone commented recently and said that nobody should ever do a bar spoon in a cocktail because different manufacturers make different sized bowls of their bar spoons. And so it's not like a standardized measure, and that's not true at all. A bar spoon measure is 5 milliliters, and there are spoons like this one that actually have a 5 milliliter bowl. So make sure to grab one of these if you're gonna do cocktails like this. So we're gonna do 1 bar spoon of agave. And then we're gonna do 1/2 ounce of mezcal and 1.5 ounces of reposado tequila. Today we are using El Tesoro, which was used in the original cocktail. And then I'm gonna grab a different spoon for this, but then we're gonna add our ice here and give it a nice stir. And then it calls for a flamed orange peel. So what I like to do when I do flamed orange peels is if you peel with a peeler, it's very difficult to get enough pith on the back of that peeler to be able to get a nice flame. And so what I like to do is just cut a nice orange coin with a knife. So make sure you have a good amount of pith on the back so that you get a lot of oil, so that you get that nice big flame and a lot of that kind of caramelized orange flavor, which is what we're looking for. And grab a match here. I like to let the little sulfur part burn off a little bit before we do this. Up above the cocktail like so, and then squirt it, and then you can just put that coin right on top like that. And there it is, guys, the Oaxaca Old Fashioned. Let's give it a taste. I mean, the cocktail is just so nicely agave forward. You get a little bit of that smoke and that kind of citrusy minerality from the mezcal, and then you get those barrel notes along with some minerality from the El Tesoro as well. What's really nice about this cocktail is that it's taking a bourbon drink which has barrel-aged spirits and then, you know, supplanting it with another barrel-aged spirit that's a little bit more lightly barrel-aged, but you still get those kind of oak notes, and you still get that little bit of vanilla, that little bit of caramel, and then that roasted agave flavor. It's just so good. You get a little bit of spice from the Angostura bitters, and then the flamed orange peel gives you those caramelized orange flavors. It is not at all surprising to me that this became a modern classic. It is chef's kiss. But I will say this, there's a couple of notes on the ingredients I want to talk about. So originally the cocktail called for El Tesoro. That's why we use that today. But you can really sub it out for any good reposado tequila. It'll change the flavor of the cocktail a little bit, but it's going to work. And then also the mezcal that was originally used was called San Luis del Rio from Del Maguey. I used the Vida instead. It's just a little bit more cost effective. I like the way it tastes in the cocktail. You don't want like a super smoky or very, very earthy mezcals. You want something that has a good amount of citrus on the back end and a little bit of smoke, but something that's not going to just overtake the flavors of the cocktail. And there it is, guys. The Oaxaca Old Fashioned.